And what is up, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Today is episode 25 of the Pinche Podcast, and today we have a very special guest, David of the Unbreakableman.
Oh yeah,
what is up?
Welcome to be here.
Yeah, tell us what's cracking, what's good.
Yeah,
I mean, life is good. Let's be honest, life is good. I'm blessed. I'm a blessed man, you know.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag. I love
everything's
that.
coming together, man.
What happened, if you could say that one good thing that happened today, what was that?
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, that's how we start. Yeah.
Man, I every Wednesday I go out with my wife and we do date day because we put the kids in school and we go out on a date, and her and I go on this walk, and we'll typically walk, you know, anywhere between a mile, 2 miles, whatever. And we just vibe. We just like really get after it, and like we just like talk about what we're creating, what life are we wanting to manifest, and every Wednesday it's like I'm always like, oh, I gotta go to work, you know, like there's like this little voice in the back of my head that's like I need to go do that thing that I need to, you know, it's like, but then I just go vibe, and it's like amazing. It's the most incredible experience. Yeah.
Do you same spot or change your location?
Yeah, we change locations quite often. We'll go down to, so we're in Austin, Texas, so we'll go down to Barton Springs. We'll do Barton Creek. We did Walnut Creek today. Pretty much anywhere in nature, man. Like, yeah. I just like want to get in it, call it forest bathing, you know, like just be in it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Man, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
What I love about it, I mean, within the first couple of seconds, one of the things that's important is just family, companionship, and all that. And right away, it's just naming one thing, and another questions come. It's just like kids and spending time with my wife. That's awesome. I already love this guy.
Oh man, I know. Hey, that was a good start. So wife listens to this, so she's gonna be like,
it's going to be hard to top that, dude. If my wife is watching, it's going to be hard to top that one. I don't know what I'm going to say.
If you want to create some connection with your partner, your wife, there's really three things that science shows. One is eye contact, right? Having eye contact. Yeah. Number two is breath. You can connect your breath. So like matching your breath to hers. And then the third is physical touch.
Breath, like your rhythm, right? Not your smell or
not the smell.
Not the morning breath.
Match your breath.
Hey, I cannot wait to hear more about that. Seriously, you have no. I'm trying to like remain calm, but I'm all giggly about it.
Excited.
Yeah.
Excited.
Well, I'm excited when people talk about eye contact, breath, and touching.
I feel like my
I'd
breath
love this
is
guy
matching up with this guy too, man. This is gonna be exciting.
Let's all breathe together in a count of three. Okay?
1, 2, 3.
Let me look at your eyes.
And on that,
can you touch my hand?
I can touch your hand.
God, I feel good.
Hey,
do some soul gazing.
Was that the highlight of your day?
No, the highlight of my day is almost as good as his. I actually stopped by because of last episode, and you'll like this. I stopped by because I was craving a Filet-O-Fish sandwich from McDonald's. Yeah, it's good because I haven't had one of those in a while. And Johnny last week brought it up, and some of us did not partake of the pleasure of the Filet-O-Fish. The pleasure. See how like it dances on my tongue. So I was going on my way home. Had a hard day at work, so I'm trying to diet. Can't do sugar. I'm not doing sugar. I'm like, I'll eat myself a damn Filet-O-Fish. So I went in and drive-through, and the lady's like, hello, welcome to McDonald's. Are you playing on your app? I'm like, no, give me a damn Filet-O-Fish. She's like, how would you like that? I'm like, okay,
wait, medium rare?
Yeah. And then she's like, do you want to kind of supersize that? So
supersize.
Yeah, so I got fries because my wife likes fries. And, because my wife like, hey, you need anything? And she's having a hard day. She needs a connection.
There you go.
And then that's my way of connecting.
Worked it in there.
But you get the large fries because you eat half of them, and she still has a lot of fries. Because when you have the Filet-O-Fish and the way the sauce tastes and that steamed bun and the cheese, do you do the fries with it too?
The little tartar sauce,
do you get fries with it?
Yeah.
Do you guys open it up and put the fries in there?
I was going to do
that,
but I was driving. I already had tartar sauce all over my hands and steering wheel, so I did not do that.
Yeah.
True story.
There's a technique. I'll tell you about it.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, so I'll go next. So we just go around.
Yours won't be as good as ours.
No, it won't.
Well, hard to top these, dude.
It does have to do with family. So my son today, he was back on the field, so he was able to play. We thought it was a torn ACL or a strained ACL, and it turns out that he's okay. He recovered. His knee was buckling, and when he got injured, so we really thought it was pretty serious. And 4 days later, he woke up. He goes, Dad, I'm cured. Like, I'm good. I'm like, no, you're not.
The Lord, dude.
And
what was it, a miracle?
No, you know what it
was
is? You know what it is? It's to be 14 again.
As the miracle of being 14,
Yeah.
teenager.
Yeah, so that was my highlight of the day. He was out on the field. He was safe. He's good. So, yeah,
Nice.
that's it.
Beautiful.
Stem cell production.
Yeah, I know.
Mexican vitamins.
Yeah. Today.
Again, I love those glasses, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, they're a favorite of mine. I'd say today actually came a little bit later. I like fixing things, and nothing's better for my mind than when I can either do a quick internet search or a quick look at something and then fix it myself without having to like either open up the wallet to repurchase or call somebody in for help. So
Pay a professional.
Yeah, so it was a stressor all day. Like in the back of my head, no matter if I was in conversation with somebody, I was like, man, it's going to cost me if this doesn't work. So the whole day I was troubleshooting in my brain before I even got there. So when I got there, troubleshot, put it back together, boom, done. I was like,
Nice.
So what was that you put together?
So because I do the jiu-jitsu gis, and
Oh, that's
I have
right.
a heat
Okay.
press.
Yeah.
So with that heat press, man, that thing has seen a lot of stuff. So I was like, kind of forgave it at first. You know, I was like, if she goes, she's gone. Crap, I got to buy another one. And then, no, I fixed it.
Nice.
You said
So
she.
that was good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I refer to her as a she. Yes.
As a she? Does she have a
The
name?
heat press machine.
the heat.
Yeah.
No.
Does she have a name?
But-
You have a name
no,
there.
she's
Yeah.
always
Oh.
in heat.
I mean, like,
It's your baby.
you can't get aggressive
Did you
with this
hear
stuff.
what he
You start getting angry at this
Say it
stuff.
She's always in heat, man.
Yeah. Pressing that heat.
Do you talk to
Steamy,
it?
bro.
Getting
Steamy.
real hot.
There's sometimes I do.
Steaming hot.
Like, God, girl.
That's funny, man.
Yep. I'll rub my hands over the fabric. Damn,
bet
you
you
did
do.
good.
I think we need to name the hot press now.
Yeah,
We need
let's
to-
do that.
we
We'll
need to
come
name
up
it.
with a name for the hot press.
That'll be the activity for the day.
Yeah. But no, I'm a hands-on guy, so I like it when I get an opportunity.
Hands on her. Huh?
Hands on when
Yeah.
it's hot.
On that
It's
press.
getting hot in the steam press room,
Baby,
dude.
I'm going to press you so much tonight.
I love you, sweetheart. I hope you're listening.
I'm going to pin you down and I'm going to press you.
Baby, it's so hot.
I'm gonna handle you.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
John,
yeah, what's up? What's
I barbecued today. And that was pretty awesome. I got to I skipped workout and I just said screw it, I'm gonna barbecue.
What'd you
Also
barbecue?
did it with my wife. Barbecue and carne asada, some short ribs, and yeah, it's like cooked meat for the next couple days. The little meal prep.
All right,
and
so you did carne
tortillas.
asada, right? So was that more like? But then you did short ribs, right?
Mhm.
So did you have two different flavors, or did you keep your flavors?
No,
going?
so the carne asada is actually awesome. We get the carne asada from HEB, and it comes like pre-marinated. It's
H-E-B
freaking so
in the
delicious.
Wow.
So it has your stamp of
Shout out to
approval in
HEB.
terms of the quality?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's legit. It's legit.
Price.
Okay.
Yep.
This
That's
piece
huge.
was huge. This is the biggest piece of carne asada I think I've ever seen, bro. Like usually they come in like little
Yeah.
strips, little thin kind of flank strips, like maybe this big. This one was this long. I'm not even joking you. This freaking long. I thought it was a tenderloin or something. And anyways, cooked those bad boys up. We ate them. We had dinner, and yeah, that was my win for the day, dude. We got meat. We're ready to go next.
Did
couple
you
days.
have yellow tortillas with
Yellow
it?
corn tortillas.
We did flour, but we got them raw from the store and we cooked them up.
Right,
Yeah.
HEB.
On the barbecue. HEB also has
Secret-
the raw
here's a
tortillas. Yep.
Secret hack, okay, for everybody. Go to HEB. Don't go to where the bread area is and get the tortillas. Those are pre-cooked. Those nah.
They're still good. But
They're still good.
They're still good.
But
We're working on a
you walk to the
sponsorship.
freezer.
It's still good.
We're the unofficial. Yeah, they're the unofficial sponsor or advertise. So you go to the frozen area and there's the raw.
Yep.
They're the raw tortillas.
Yep.
So they got flour and the yellow corn.
Yep.
Delicious.
Those are the ones we
The
get.
yellow corn, you got to get a knife and slice them, otherwise they crumble.
Yeah.
But
They'll break apart.
they are fantastic. They're the best alternative to home
Yep.
tortillas.
Oh.
Yeah, they're good.
So that's
They
a hack.
even like inflate, as
Yep,
you warm
yep.
them up, they get all.
Yep.
I like it.
Tap 'em.
He makes a mean yellow
and spank 'em.
tortilla,
Yeah.
and he's been talking about it since what episode?
I was
Episode
gonna give you,
one.
I was going to give you a name for them. We call them the ghost tortillas because we've never seen them.
It's like it's
Casper
myth.
tortillas, bro.
I'm gonna- he's
Yeah,
been
Casper
talking-
tortillas.
This podcast has been
I'm
going
gonna
on since March,
We're gonna
correct?
call you Casper, bro, from now on. Casper,
hey.
Casper.
He's like
Easy. Quit ghosting.
catfishing me.
Casper the
with-
friendly ghost, bro.
catfishing me with
Luis
tortillas.
Renteria is about to cut people off.
Oh, no.
As we talk about the Unbreakable Man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, was that a good cutoff?
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
brutal,
that was,
dude.
that was a soft lay down.
Brutal.
Yeah, getting better with that.
The other one, you just came through with a machete.
Like he
Yeah.
physically
Paper cutter, bro.
Paper
touched me.
cutter. Hey, speaking of paper cutter, we got to come back on it.
We gotta talk about that.
Tell us about Unbreakable Man and the Unbreakable Man experience, because this is intriguing. I was on your website. I was reading about it, and really, I know. Here, let me pull it up. I know I'm going to participate this Sunday. I already know.
Oh.
Yeah, this Sunday
already
is a
know.
little bit different. This Sunday is like what's called breath work. We'll talk about breath work
Right.
in a second. So the Unbreakable Man was sort of this brainchild. I wouldn't even call it brainchild. It was like part of my soul that like just started to come through, and it was
Soul child.
yeah, it was a soul child.
like
It was like a
that.
calling on my heart. So I initially started my career as a chiropractor. Actually, that's how I met Christopher. This was back in the day, man. It's been
yeah,
a minute.
way back.
And so, in the somatic arts, right, we'll call it somatic healing, I kept seeing people show up with the same things over and over and over again, and they would always complain about the same issues in their life. And I was always wondering, like, why the hell is this happening? You know, I was like really, really curious about that, and I wanted to be a healer. So I was like, well, what if we, like dive into the understanding of like the mind-body connection? And then I read a book called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. And it talks about trauma. It talks about how the DNA structures in your body and the protein synthesis literally creates proteins that form because of trauma, right?
Yes.
It was a book that completely changed the course and direction of my career. And one of the things that I saw in American society, and and the reason I brought up trauma is, being a veteran myself, you come back, you got wounds, man. Like, you don't know what to do with them. The EA wants to throw some pills at you. There's no opportunity for men to open themselves up, and societal norms are such that, we can't be who we are. Like, we cannot be authentic. We cannot express our emotions. And so what I wanted to do with the Unbreakable Man, and also for the Unbreakable Man experience as a thing, which is a 3-day rite of passage, an initiatory rite of passage to help men go from boyhood psychology into manhood psychology. And it's designed to go through a series of challenges that break you apart from these egoic structures that keep you safe, like these masks that we all wear. And so it's a very deeply challenging process. Again, 3 days. I bring guys, and I'll just tell you a couple of the iterations that we go. He's like, I'm gonna throw you in the ice water, right? But I'm not gonna tell you how long you're gonna be in there, right? But like, we frame it. I teach you how to regulate your nervous system. I put you into very challenging situations and train you to know how to handle that, so that when you go into it, you know exactly how to process it, and then for lack of better words, you get to find out who you are as a man. And so the process of transformation, again, takes about 3 days, and these guys come out and their lives are completely changed forever. It's amazing. And so some of the transformation, I mean, I've seen guys go from, whether it's alcoholism, drug addiction, to just they want to be better businessmen and better partners. And my favorite is when I get testimonials from the wives, like unsolicited text messages, and they're crying, and they're like, because they're so happy with how their husband is showing up now. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. So that's a very quick summary of the Unbreakable Man. And but it's ultimately about helping men find their freedom, find their power, be their authentic self. That's what the Unbreakable Man is. Yeah.
Is there?
I love that.
Is there like a kind of a demographic that you're looking for, or can anybody like kind of explore this?
Yeah, so I've had guys from the whole gambit, everything from like guys that are just starting off in their career to multimillionaires who one guy sold his company for hundreds of millions of dollars, has like 4 Maseratis and Lamborghinis and multiple houses all over the United States, and he was just miserable. It's like Whether you want to call it mental illness or just like lack of purpose, whatever, it's like it affects everybody. From a marketing perspective, we do market specifically to the modern businessman, but it's really for any man that just wants to be a better version of himself and is looking to be a more authentic version. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think a lot of young people too would benefit from something like this as well, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of young people, maybe in high school, like they don't really talk about, that it's okay to be, especially nowadays, right? That it's okay to be vulnerable, or even that it's okay to be a man and like embracing masculinity as well, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of this like actually talks about that, but there's, that deficiency, I think, with a lot of young people, and I have a lot of like nephews kind of in the, 16 to 20 age range.
Well, yeah.
Right.
What
And
happens, because I've been teaching high school, I'm a teacher, I've been teaching 28 years, and one of the things is letting kids know, whether they're male or female, whatever they come from, is, you have the right type of emotions, your right to feel, be the best you can be, and it's okay to have emotion, especially with like the young males. Like in my generation, I'm older, Generation X. I'm just gonna let you know. Just
wait. We decided not to make fun of that.
No, but the thing is, like, I'm going through this, and I
the
love
Roman
it.
numeral.
Yeah.
It's like the Roman
Generation
Ten. Yeah, Generation 10.
Yes, Generation 10, literally 10 AD.
Yeah,
Jesus
10 AD.
was a cool little kid, man, but he kept like trying to heal me and stuff. And I'm like, dude, come on. They're like, hey, I'm trying to tell you this word thing. I'm like, word? What are you doing, kid? And just push them off. But it's just let them know, like, we share good news in my class, and sometimes kids, especially the guys, will kind of stick at a guy if they say, hey, I did this and with my dad, and it was really cool, and then the kids will kind of snicker. I'm like, no, we don't do that here, because he's showing something that's meaningful. And when you do that, you're kind of taken away from it. And it's a character flaw, too, that I'm going to coach on. People should be able to express themselves and not be judged. And when we watch motivational videos and movies, they kind of tear up, like, no, it just means you have a good heart. They need to hear that. So they see, I share my stories with them, as you guys know my story. And just because I wish I had that growing up, because I didn't. I just got to keep it in. And that's why I have all these mental health things I'm still dealing with. But no, thank you for doing this. And then for young people, I could see that helping the young males, because they just, you see it, especially in this area, like, sit down, shut up, be tough.
No,
be a
take
man.
take this pill.
Is the purpose like self-empowerment, self-awareness? Like, what is when somebody decides to either go through the experience? I mean, I guess you could say each person has their own purpose, per se. But like, what is is there a general target that you're trying to achieve with these gentlemen, or is it more individualized? Because each individual is going to have a different purpose.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if I could sum it into one word, it would simply be freedom, right? Like the internal freedom to be who you are as a man and to express your authentic self. I use that word a lot, but really what that means is like, can you show up and be who you want to be in every context, in your relationship, in your business, in your finances, in your health? Like, are you showing up, or is something inside of you holding you back from like really being who you want to be? And I see this a lot, and this can be in anything from, okay, well, I want to make more money in my business, but I'll make money and then I'll quit, or like I'll stop doing the thing that creates more money, or I want that relationship and I want to open myself up to love, but every time I get close, the woman betrays me, or whatever that situation is. There's always patterns that happen in these men's lives, and really what that's coming from is when we are from age 0 to 7, we don't have a fully developed prefrontal cortex, and that then because of that, anything that we experience in life is programmed. It's like we are these little these little robots that get programmed from age 0 to 7. So when something happens in those ages, we, instead of rationalizing it and seeing it as like, let's say I hit my sister and I'm like being playful and she gets really upset and then I get scolded, instead of seeing that as, oh, I did wrong, I see that as I am wrong. And it's that internalization then. We emotionalize that moment and we internalize it. And, you know, without going too far into the psychology of it, but we all have certain primal needs. And at the very, very fundamental basis, that the most fundamental basic primal need for us is to feel safe. And if we don't feel safe to go after what we truly want in life, then we're gonna put on a mask. We're gonna be like, who do I need to be? Like, how do I need to show? I'm gonna be the overachiever. I'm gonna be the quiet one. Who do I need to be in order to get that need met, so that I know that I can feel safe having that need, when all the while we still don't feel worthy and deserving of having that need because we've already put that mask on. And so to answer that question, that's a little bit long answer for a short question, which is really it's pulling off the mask. It's pulling off like the bullshit stories that we tell ourselves. We have all these characters in our head, and I talk about that. These are called archetypes. I'm a bit of a Jungian psychologist, and so we just help guys understand, like, there's the trickster, there's the king, the warrior, there's all these like types of these archetypes that make us feel protected and safe, but ultimately they're just there to kind of be a part of your ultimate psyche.
Right.
And so I call it your kingdom. It's like, as the king rises, you are the sovereign within the self. You must come online, the king within you must come online for it to reign over the psyche, and which means your inner world, meaning your mind, your body, your emotions, knowing that you are in response rather than reaction. So as an example, if anybody like ever pisses you off, like maybe somebody like, fucks you up in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I'm like Joe all the time, right? Like somebody like kind of fucks with you the wrong way, and you're like, fuck you, man. Like you just get really pissed. Like you are in a reactive state. Your amygdala fires. You get into this fight or flight response. You're in stress. Now, if that's always happening, that is parasitic tension. That stress is constantly happening inside of you. So if you want to go after something, but you don't feel that you're worthy of it, psychologically, you cannot physically go after it, right? So you stop yourself. And so what we do is help you just kind of rip apart those layers. And the process itself is it's simple, but it's just not easy. It's like psychological death feels the same as physical death. That's the rub. Yeah. Anytime I'm working with a guy, I always tell him that. I'm like, psychological death, which is like your old patterns, your old mindset blocks, mental illnesses, anxieties, depressions, whatever you feel that your traumas you feel that you're carrying, to let that go, you will need to let that die in order for you to be your authentic self. And so that's why what we do is we set the guys up in what's called safe space, safe containment, which is the masculine psyche coming on to say, okay, I'm going to create this safe container. That's why initiations are really, really important. Why, like, when you go to jiu-jitsu, there's a black belt that's going to guide you through the path, right? And then like guys that are, belts above you, blue, brown, etc. Like maybe they're going to like, blue belts are going to train the white belts.
Yes.
And brown belts are going to train the blue belts, right? It's like you're going to like guide the next man across the threshold. But in order to do that, you must sacrifice something, which is generally time, energy. You're going to have to like learn, etc. And so ultimately, to be able to get to that space, you have to be willing to quote unquote die. There's like a psychological death. And again, that's going through the discomfort, the feeling of like, oh, this feels really weird. What am I doing? Like, and really, honestly, it's, seeing these guys transform in front of my eyes. You go ahead.
No. So what are some of those the activities that make you go through that? Like I know you mentioned the
that's
cold
the secret
plunge.
sauce, dude. That's the secret sauce.
So,
I don't know. I don't know if he wants to share the secret sauce here.
Walking on coals.
Okay, so I can answer that in a general form, but I don't tell people the curriculum on purpose, right? It's like you don't go to boot camp knowing what you're going to get into. You're just like, oh fuck, I'm going to show up. They're going to shave my head, and then I got to wear these these greens, dude.
They shave your head now, huh? That's the Navy. Navy, they don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the Air Force.
That's who's cutting your hair.
Wait.
Unfortunately,
I love it. Yeah. So because the psyche, the ego wants to be living in the known. It wants to live in the known world. I bring them into what's called the liminal space, which is the unknown world. It's called sacred space, where they are in an area which is safe containment, meaning they can be whoever the fuck they want to be. If they need to scream, yell, kick, cry, fucking sob until they can't sob anymore. I've had guys vomit. I've had guys, you name it. I've seen it all, man, like legit. And when I bring them through these processes, again, I set them up so that they know exactly what's going to happen. I just don't tell them ahead of time. So I don't give them an agenda, but I just like walk guys through and I'm saying, okay, this next evolution is going to be this. And then we set them up and then we go through the process. Now, all of these, and I will just tell you this, all of these are somatic therapies. Somatic is just the Latin root for body. So that's my background. I'm a somatic therapist. I read that book, The Body Keeps a Score, and I realized there was the link between somatic therapy and the world of mental emotional well-being. And I couldn't separate the two anymore. So
Yes.
I was in the chiropractic world, and I realized there's so much more to healing. I needed to change. I had to change who I was. It's like once you know, then you know, and you're like, oh, I can't pretend to not know anymore and like not do anything about that. So I had to do something about it. And for me, because I was, male, I had come from combative sports, football, wrestling in high school, went through the military, went to combat. I was looking for that sense of well-being within myself, and it didn't exist. And so I created it. And it's becoming a generally more popular now. But we're still, as coaches, I consider myself more of a coach than a therapist now. Because I always like to say, like, therapists are going to, like, treat you soft. Like, coaches are going to get you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like, that's my gig. And that's why, again, like, why I kind of go the coach route. But
I'm sorry, David. I want
Yes.
to ask you something.
yeah.
When people help me, I never want to be treated soft. I want to be treated hard.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just.
It's
Wow, what a pattern intro. Good job.
I'm being serious. Just
Yeah,
wanted
talk
to
about
know.
cutting somebody off.
that's a
I
soft-
want him to know.
That's a
like, what
soft
kind of
cut.
person-
We
That's
were
soft
all
cut.
deeply entranced with like what you were saying, and I thought you were going to ask a, like
I'm entranced too.
serious
but
question.
this is
Hey,
what-
you be you. This is the
I'm
safe
sorry.
place.
You're authentic
There's
self,
a-
man.
Yeah.
Which one of your psyches are you?
I got so
Archetype?
many, dude.
Yeah.
This is my guy. Keep
That's
going,
the-
man. Preach, brother, preach.
That's the
Sorry,
joke.
sorry,
Oh,
bro.
he has
Oh,
the
there's more.
jokester
multiple
emerges.
personality
I build 'em up.
disorder.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, and so what we do is that we bring them into this process, which is a process of initiation. So in the military, in the fraternities, you get what's called false initiation. And false initiation, this is like where a lot of people are like, hey, I saw your ears go like, here. Like you gave me the side.
Like,
What?
what?
What do you mean false
What do you mean
initiation?
false? I
What it
remember the
does-
Crucible.
Yeah.
Rah,
Now,
rah.
here's the thing. False initiation is simply just an initiation into a group of people so that you can be a part of a group rather than you be an individual within that group. That's the difference between false initiation and true initiation. So true initiation goes through what's called the ordeal phase, which is the phase of the self to identify your greatest fears and for you to face that in front of yourself. Like, so facing the man in the mirror, the best way to describe it, which is your own psyche, your own fears, the fear of being loved, the fear of losing, the fear of, being abandoned, whatever that thing is. So what happens in false initiation is you get guided into being, for lack of better words, a cog in a wheel. And I don't want to throw the army or the military under the bus, but they're there to create something. You are part of the whole rather than an individual within the whole. Our process is to help you understand your personal individuality, and then from that place you serve the collective, you serve the whole, because you know who you are, you know what drives you, you know what you are here to do on this planet, and you know your unique, I call it your unique thumbprint, that it's like we all crave something. It's like a soul-quenching satisfaction. We want something in life, and I help guys find that. And it literally comes down to what's called a vibration or a feeling, and that's once you identify it and you can recreate it for yourself, then you get to choose that with free will.
Well,
Yeah.
people look for purpose.
Yes.
And then what people do is they try to find things that have the semblance of purpose.
Yes.
But then deep down, when you think about it, and so
Yes.
there's things that people do to kind of either ignore that inner voice
Yes.
or to do it to fill that time, whether it's I'm this guy or you're not that guy, so maybe you're
Do
Go-
a lot of the guys coming in, I assume it's all guys, coming into this, are they trying to search for their purpose? Does that seem to be
It's a large theme, absolutely. Yeah. So it's like there's a certain themes, one of which is purpose, one of which is masculine structure and helping them understand what it means to be a man. So like 30% of the men that come through are homosexual. Like we have a lot of gay guys because they want to be a part of a brotherhood. Because if you think about being a young gay male, you get, number one, chastised by men. And we all crave masculine love. We need masculine love to know who we are as men. We have to be in a brotherhood of men and have that belonging. And so they got chastised. So then they'll come through our program and they realize there's no confusion. Like there's no confusion. And it's like masculine love is masculine love. You can hug somebody and there's like there's no issue at all. So we get a lot of that. We will get, obviously a lot of guys looking for purpose. And a lot of guys are just looking to just crack through whatever stress, anxiety, that parasitic.
There's always
tension.
that little bit. It's like, why am I still in second gear or third gear when I got a 6-speed transmission?
Yeah.
You know,
and that is exactly what, to identify that term is a mindset block.
Right.
And when I say mindset block, it's literally in your body or in your soma that there is something you want, but you don't feel safe to move towards.
And you don't understand why.
Exactly. And
like,
but here's the thing, like you don't need to know why. It's just to be willing to witness anything in the way. Now here's like the crazy part when you do this work, and this like we'll talk about breath work in a minute, but when you do somatic work and you're willing to witness what you're going to feel if you want true love, right? If you think about the spectrum of emotion, right? Everything we want in life is based on emotion. And a lot of people forget this, right? If I gave you $1 million, fuck it, like $1 billion today, but you could not feel any different, would you actually want it?
No.
Right. Like, no, everybody's like, but like, you kind of like almost try to justify, well, I would feel better. It's like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah. But you could never feel better, right?
No, not me.
It's like,
well, it's not going to make you feel any worse or any better.
Right.
Yeah,
So if
but
I'm
But that's because you're okay with
You're
I'm
okay,
how you
but
feel
some-
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
not everybody's.
And good
not
for
everyone's
you,
okay
but-
like you, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but not
absolutely.
everybody
No,
is
and
on the other side. Like,
forgive
I'm-
me, because I'm on the opposite side of it. Not on the opposite side. I'm interested in meeting guys who are trying to find that purpose, right? Like, just from a curiosity side of it, like what leads to that conversation where you're like, man, what is my purpose?
It's a voice. Well, for me, I'm sorry, it's like a voice inside you because you're in your reality, and I love that you have that. But for like me, like that's a constant thing when you're having those, like when you're by yourself, when you're like on a drive to work or you're in the shower, you're brushing your teeth, and you don't have like companionship or distractions like video games or a movie. You have that discussion with yourself, just at least for me, and you're just like, what's going on? Why do I feel this way? I need to feel like why I'm dealing with what I'm dealing. I need to have something bigger than this.
I mean, I've had those kind of self conversations. Like, we've mentioned before, I'm a jack of all trades just because I've never specialized in one thing.
Yeah.
So I'll every now and then that little monster creeps in, like, man, what would have happened if I would have just concentrated like on say like one or spend all the energy focus mastering one. And it's not like the self like regret or anything like that, but every now and then that little monster is like, it's when you're sitting in the shower, like, if I was to win $10 million, this is what I, that type of conversation. But sometimes that one's like, man, what if I stuck with this one thing and then went?
Maybe you'd be there. Yeah.
Where I'd be at. But I'm always quick, at least with me, is quick going, man, I probably would have never met my old lady. I would not have the kids that I have. Yeah. Right. Even though like not all things are perfect, but in some small way they are, because if you could project, right, and see those things early, you could also be missing opportunities. Yeah. So it's for me to understand, or at least listen to some guys like, I had no purpose, but at the end of this, now I do. That's kind of cool to hear.
Yeah, and the thing with purpose, there's this false conception that purpose must be vocational. Like purpose must be the thing that you do in life, where in reality your purpose is simply to be. if you think about the totality of things, right? Your purpose is just to be you, like you to be a provider, for your children, and not just provide in like the financial sense, but provide energetically, provide emotionally. You create safe space for them to be who they are, so that they can play, and you create containment for your wife if she's having a bad day, that she can cry and she can just go through her process, or maybe she's having
and not trying to fix
exactly
things.
Yeah.
Just listen.
So and so like that's like one of the grand misconceptions. Now I will say, you were mentioning the call and the heart, and there is truth to that, and I feel like, and I'll use the word, it's almost like I'll compartmentalize, even though you can't really compartmentalize them. I'll use that as the term dharma in the like Buddhist sense, that we all have like a calling that's to something greater, to serve a purpose greater than ourselves, and I feel that we all like want something, like sounds like that's kind of what you're describing, almost like this. It's like, it's like a tangible, like like I can taste it, but I just don't know what it was. That is, there's a great, kind of process you can go through called the Ikigai. Have you guys heard of this? So the Ikigai is a Japanese, you've heard of it?
Spell that for me.
Jamie?
I-K. So Ikigai, it's a Japanese term.
Yeah.
Ikigai.
Yeah.
Meaning Japanese secret. Yeah. So basically, it helps you just simply identify this. It's sort of this Venn diagram of your strengths, what people see. What are you naturally good at? What do you want to see in the world? What improvements do you want to see? But deep down, you already know what it is, right? You already know like what you were put on this earth to do. If you just like sit on a rock long enough, you'll find it.
Quick dynamic question here.
Yeah.
Do you think that purpose changes?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think we are ever stagnant as humans. I think we're constantly going through a process. I recently went through I call it a ceremony anytime I go into deep inner work. I've used a lot of different modalities, from breath work to plant medicine, et cetera. But I recently went through a process, and I saw myself moving from sort of the young man that I was into the sage, right into that sage archetype. And I was like, all right, like, let's go, so purpose absolutely can change. And I don't think, you and I met when I was a completely different human.
Another life.
Yeah. It's like, it felt like a completely different life. And that was only like
6
years ago, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and then
but I do remember you were sorry. I do remember you were inking out the Unbreakable Man.
I was, very early on.
Yeah.
It was right before I met you. This was like 6 years ago. I remember feeling like the call.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, fuck, I need to work with men. And I'm like, it's like one of those moments where you're like looking up at the sky, like, you want me to do what? Like, and it's like, build a boat, Noah. And you're like, what? Like, what does that mean?
Why the focus on guys? Just curiosity.
I really feel like that men are getting the shaft. I think, like,
touche.
Man, give this guy one.
Yeah.
you think or
Yeah. And I know what masculinity is, because it just fucking oozes through my veins, and I know the presence. I know what kingship is. I know what warriorship is, and I know how to bring healthy masculine to the table. And I want to change the rhetoric of what masculinity truly is, and help men embody what their masculinity is, so that they can use it for service. And just like, I always describe it as fire, right? Like, fire can hurt somebody else, and somebody looks at fire and is like, fire's dangerous. Let's everybody, like, let's cut off fires. Like, no. It can heat your home. It can cook your food.
Yeah.
It can light up a dark area. Like, fire is very, very healthy.
Powerful.
Very
healthy.
powerful. Yeah. But with great power comes great responsibility, as Uncle Ben from Spider-Man said. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. That OG.
Yeah, man.
So 2 things about the Ikigai. Real quickly, like, Johnny, I'm surprised you don't know what it is, because based on our private conversations, that's what the girls used to call you in high school and college. A very icky guy.
I was waiting for that to come. I was letting you build up to that one. That was a good
I love
one.
it. But we actually use this in some of our our principal laid this out for staff development a couple years ago. We always have a theme, and he introduced this to us. And the thing is, kind of like when you're trying to figure out your cause, and you're the expert, there's themes, and as you start focusing on all these aspects, it kind of solidifies better, instead of being scatterbrained like I am. Like, okay, this is all the things that are important. Let's put all these little things together. I'm like, okay, I kind of see it. So, whether it's your profession, what you love, passion, all that. When I look at my Ikigai, and I like it in terms of the different, I think I have different stages of who I am in terms of a father, as a husband, as a friend, and as a teacher. And when I look at that, they are interconnected, but then it kind of changes a little bit to me. Me as a father will have similarities with the other hats I wear, but then there's also differences too.
Yeah. And there's also an essence to you, right? Like, and this is something like a lot of guys are like, what the fuck's an essence? It's basically like, think of it like, the totality of society as a soup, right? And we all bring our own unique flavor. Yeah. And the more we allow ourselves to be our authentic self, we bring that flavor to the soup. And if you weren't in the soup, right? I know you guys got a bunch of jokes right now.
Well, we'll get to it. I want you guys to think, if he could be a flavor in this soup when he's done with this great moment, what flavor would be and why? Go ahead.
I don't know, man. I'd be the salt,
Sodium. Everybody needs some sodium. That's good. Yeah. Water retention, electrolytes, all that.
Everybody wants.
I love
pink
it.
Himalayan salt.
Yeah. What kind of salt? You go pink Himalayan.
The Redmonds.
Do you know they use kids to? No, they use kids to mine the pink salt.
Is that why it's red?
No,
or pink?
It's like the diamond mines, man.
So that's why it's.
I'm
pink
just making it up. I say that once in a while.
Yeah.
Make people feel better for
blood salt.
Your spice.
Oh, I already know it too.
I was gonna say spicy, but I think you beat me to it. I think you were saying spicy, so I might go with like that mushroom, that miso flavor.
Miso what?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Let's breathe together. Go ahead.
I'm waiting for Joe to say coal.
Coal? Coal?
Coal. It's just the oldest flavor out there.
Dirt.
Can't get old.
Dirt. Coal.
That earthy flavor. Dirt.
Yeah, dirt.
Gosh.
Man, I'm cayenne.
Ooh.
Okay.
Cayenne.
I'm starting to make a nice soup.
I like that.
I like this. This is a...
I'll help on that soup and go with some nice fresh chile serranos.
Oh,
just they're light. You can have a ton.
I like that.
And you got to keep having more. Once the heat calms down,
stop sweating.
You stop sweating. You're like,
stop.
shit, I want some more.
Yep, it's like Pringles.
Keep going. I don't know.
I mean, mine is pepper, and you got to go salt and pepper. Salt and pepper here.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
no, it would be, that's my favorite thing. I'm notorious. It's just everything has to have pepper. It makes it better. So it'd be
I like that.
Yeah.
I was going to say pineapple, but.
Is that why you... No, never mind.
So in the 3 days.
So now, well, let's
go back to the soup.
Let me touch on this. I really want to touch on this because there's an essence. You think about all those flavors, right? Now you can embed a lot of that into the soup or just a little bit. Now think about, again, totality of society, right? Like if you have a small cup, you don't want to put a ton of pepper in it, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be like too wild, So that's called discernment, understanding, know the room, read the room kind of thing.
Can't be too spicy.
But ultimately, you don't want to. I know. You
Can't be too spicy. That's it.
But what that is
can't be too earthy.
I know. But what that is your vibe. It's like what you bring to the essence, right? You guys all have your character, and you can bring that authentic self. And so, our mission is really to help men find that. If you think about purpose, and I want to touch on this really quick before we go back to the 3-day. The easiest way to find fulfillment in life, because there is success, there's science of success, do certain things that create an action. Like if you think about health, it's like, okay, I'm going to eat a certain way, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to work out, etc. There's science to that, but fulfillment is this art. And if you want to be fulfilled, figure out the thing that bothers you the most and help somebody else solve that problem.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is
like
honestly it.
Yeah.
And you will be ultimately fulfilled,
Yeah.
right? Find the thing that causes you the most suffering.
So that's very challenging, especially in this within this topic, right? Because men close up. They they have the shield, they have the brick wall, and I'm saying it from experience, right?
Yeah.
I mean, lately, like, it's no longer a brick wall, but it's still
Yeah.
a wall
Yeah.
that we tend to
Thatch.
have.
Yeah.
Like in our construction world, we do where they teach classes on crucial conversations.
Yeah.
And essentially, it is stripping down. You're finding someone's issue, their constraint, and you're trying to remove every excuse as to, like, not interrogate them as to why, but to help solve. Like, all right, what needs to happen right now for X to happen tomorrow, now, next? We got to get it done. You know, oh, is it a phone call? Is it an email or, you know, some dimension? But we have those, like, constantly on a daily basis. So, like, I can see where when people don't have exposure to that, where they may need to come to, like, this retreat.
Yeah.
Right? Is it more like a retreat?
Yeah,
Are
and
you
that's what it's like,
Yeah.
you know, touted as. It's a businessman's retreat, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's like
so
really
you
deep.
cut off, no cell phone? Like, how's it work?
I do let them have cell phones at the end of the day. You know, like
Okay.
a lot of the guys have families. They got companies that they still got to run.
Yeah.
And we do run it mostly on the weekends. But, you know, like I always say no cell phones during the day. You know, we have certain ground rules that we go through. And there's a certain set of standards. We learn standard.
Yeah.
So if you break standard, then there's going to be a consequence. So I help them understand. Like, I always say this too. It's like, words don't teach, experience does. And
Like electrical therapy.
absolutely, right? And so
Get back in line.
I know, right? And so what we do is we teach. I know I teach them, but then we go through an evolution, and in that evolution there is the experience, and then we always have just classic military after action review. We talk about what happened, what went well, what was the challenge, how can we improve, and so. If you bring that into your day, then you recognize that you can set the tone. And so there was an evolution that we had for the young men in our last class. And one of the men failed to meet the standard. Now, here's the thing. I always say there are no accidents, meaning like if you're the guy that's always late, you're going to be late. You're going to be late to one of the evolutions. Like, I know it. And you are using that lateness to shield you from the feeling of wrongness, the feeling of shame, guilt. You guys mentioned something about, like, we wall up, we isolate, and you mentioned, like, crucial conversations, like, what are we, like, actually getting? Like, people don't want to be wrong. Like, but it's not just wrong. They don't want to be known as I am wrong, right? Like, I'm bad, right? Like, instead of, like, I did bad, which feels, you know, you kind of feel guilt, and you're like, it's very hard to take full responsibility for your shit. And in order to be the man you want to be, you actually have to do that. Like, that's the first thing. You must live with responsibility. Go ahead.
Can I ask? So that lateness thing that you touched on, I think is, I don't know. So I used to be like chronically late to everything, right? I was almost like proud of it in a weird way. Like, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to show up 10, 15 minutes late or whatever, right? It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Until, like, you know, a couple of my friends had a serious conversation with me, and they're like, dude, you're always late to stuff, right? And it's like not cool, and we're waiting around for you, and, like, you know, we don't want to do this anymore, right? And they kind of had a serious conversation with me. And so now I hate being late, but whenever I'm with somebody else and we're trying to make it somewhere on time to the thing, it drives me freaking crazy. But my question is, you know, in terms of, like, just, I don't know, what do you think that lateness thing is about, that people are okay kind of being late, and I don't know, just like going through, like, it doesn't have to be lateness, right? It could be anything, right? But, like, what is it, that thing that, like, just allows for that to kind of continually happen? And, you know, the justifying part of it, like you were saying, right? Like, whatever, people deal with it and they justify it in whatever way that they can, but like, to continue doing it, right? And to continue, like, how do people break out of that, right?
Yeah. So again, it's very, very difficult to take responsibility, right? And you're taking responsibility for, like, your, like, how you showed up and your emotions and your actions, like what happened. We, again, going back to this sort of psychologically speaking, if we are to be successful, like, fear of success is a real thing, because you are going to be putting yourself out there. You're going to, like, have to be showing up, and you're now responsible for not just yourself, but for others. And I'll raise my hand and say, I had a fear of success for a long time, you know, and I was, like, just, like, in the sort of the dumps. And so the way I wouldn't show up I would work hard, but I would never actually complete a project. So my thing was completion. And so when you're showing up every day with an open heart and a strong back, and you are like, I'm a fucking king. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do. there's a lot of mental emotional responsibility that you must take every single day. Now, once you do the work, I call it the work, which is like the internal work, you don't have to feel like you're some sort of superior or inferior. You're just there. You're just like present. And here's the irony with all that, people get triggered. Like when you're in your light, when you're in like your greatness, like people get fucking triggered by that. People that don't get triggered are people that are already like killing it in life, Yeah. Successful people will not bash on anyone that's striving, right? It's like the people that are like down at the bottom that will like bash on you if you're striving. So where that comes from psychologically is that you don't feel safe to be successful or to be in, it depends on the context. There's something that you don't feel safe to move towards. And so using lightness as a shield of maybe it's, like, okay, I don't want people to be incredibly close to me because maybe deep down inside there was some sense that you felt, okay, like I need to like kind of put up a wall here. The ultimate basis of it is that at the very, very bottom, we feel shame. We feel shame about what we are experiencing psychologically. And that's where the isolation comes in. That's where we don't want to show up. And so men, because we want to carry the load, we don't want to put our burdens on other people. That's where we isolate and we go internal. And that's where men like the downfall happens.
They get destructive.
They get incredibly destructive. And it's not just in the form of alcohol or drugs. It's even like little things, man. It's like you think about the social media. I might catch myself all the time. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm on the social media, right? It's porn, it's TV, it's sports, it's gambling. It's like playing golf too much, It's like something that you use to distract yourself from what is truth. And truth is, I feel really shitty that I'm not producing enough of income in my business, but I'm going to go work harder and I'm going to, do it. And like, for me, I would do personal development like it was my fucking job, and, lo and behold, that's what I do now. But it was like,
no, it is
right now it is my job. And I would come home to my wife and be like, oh, I had this realization today and this realization. But ultimately I was shielding the fact that I felt shame around not being a better financial provider for her. And all the while it was also teaching me to just like, let the fuck go, just like surrender to the process. We've never had financial issues, but I've always felt that shame that I must do more, be more, have more. When in reality, it's like, I already am it. And so it's instead of like an external, going into the external, it's an internal game. And so that's a little bit of a long answer to your question, but
I don't know about this, but I think this podcast is for me only. Like this is 100%.
You're internalizing the message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you guys are not even
guy,
here,
bro. You're getting that icky guy.
Seriously, like
This
you're
is
talking,
therapy, man.
you're talking directly to me.
Yeah, man.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a little bit more quiet than normal because actually just you talking about it makes me uncomfortable.
How many pages of notes you got
well,
over
it's
there?
because a lot of the things that he's saying are things that I'm dealing with. So I love that you're doing it, but then it's also making me, as you're having the conversation about things, it's like things that I've gone through and continue to go through. But that's a good thing because that means I still have work to do. In a good way, it's the discomfort will be growth. One of the things I tell my students, it's similar, but you're on a way higher level than me. You're the black belt, I'm the white belt. Maybe one stripe is.
No, you're a purple belt, which is it's okay for him to be late. Like he can be late.
You show up
well, that makes you value my time more. So you show up on time.
That
you
flex,
ignore me.
bro. That flex.
That's a flex.
Well, if you want to be a man, you got to hear the truth.
Yep, true. True.
So I tell the students there's something like I call it a clever form of avoidance procrastination when they're not doing their work. So they have this work, they don't want to do it, they need to do it, but then that's when they decide to clean their room or organize their sock drawer, or they're just going to go pet the dog, or they're going to go talk to like mom about how their day was. So there's these things that go on to kind of make you think you're being productive. It could be like that too, where you immerse yourself in something and you're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on it. Like, oh, I did all this stuff. I organized my sock drawer and stuff.
The busy work.
Yeah. And so it made me trigger like some of the things I try to tell my students. It's like, what is your priority? What do you want to accomplish? What do you need to get done so you get that done? And just because you fill up the time with something you think is a priority, it might not be the priority.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're all afraid. Like there's a fear in the procrastination, and we're afraid of not being accepted by our peers, and that's like one of the greatest, like the most fundamental human fear is to be like kicked out of the
Exile,
clan,
dude. That exile, yeah.
right? Like, and to be booted. So one of the most healing things you can do. This is why I created a brotherhood, right? One of the most healing things you can do is just be in a group of individuals that are of like mind, that are open, that are consciously open and accepting,
Yes.
and challenge you and keep you accountable, right? Like you can't. Here's the thing with like any group, it's like very easy to let people slide sometimes when they're like, oh, like, you know, he's late again.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's like, no, man, like show the fuck up. Like, let's go. Like, we're gonna let's go. You're gonna do.
I love that my friends like did that to
Called
me.
you
on
Yeah,
it.
and
Absolutely.
because it was a year, like a multi-year thing.
Absolutely. And that's
yeah.
healthy masculine,
Yeah.
right there. That is an expression of healthy masculinity, because when you hold somebody accountable, you are now being like, this is a standard. Like here, inside the standard, there is sacred space for us to be who we truly can be. If you don't hold that standard, I don't feel safe to be in this containment, right? And like that could be something like time, it could be money, it could be relationships, right? The idea of monogamy, it could be anything. It could be a podcast, right? It's like here's the container. Like this is what it's going to be. It's going to be from this time to this time, and we're going to talk about these, you know. And so, of course, inside of that is completely nebulous. That is that. Again, we'll talk about, if you guys want to talk about like, you know, masculine, feminine dynamics. That's that feminine flow, right? You never know how it's always going to go. You can just like kind of roll with it. That's being in flow. That's where jiu-jitsu is a perfect example, man. It's like,
You're within that
yeah,
that safe space, so to speak.
Yeah.
Although sometimes with this guy, it's not that safe.
Even sometimes jiu-jitsu becomes that procrastinator per se. So it's in our house, it's a constant balance of you know, our own self-interest of training and getting better versus our kids, right?
Kids are overrated. I'm telling
kids
you.
are overrated. I'm like, just keep
That was
up.
a joke. That was a joke.
No, but to your point,
Yeah.
right? Even more jiu-jitsu just procrastinates that conversation that you have to have with yourself or whatever, saying, hey, you know, when do I hang up the cleats? But what I do kind of find our mental boot camp, though, is through jiu-jitsu. Literally, there are times I've left work and put faces on people I've rolled with, and sometimes they still get the better of me, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like I get some sense of revenge. But at the end of the day, it's just trying to find that balance.
That revenge roll, dude.
Revenge
That
roll.
revenge roll.
You know what's worse is revenge roll and you lose.
And you lose again.
Like, dang it.
I was gonna say you can revenge roll me anytime. I'm there.
I don't want to say that. People.
I'll just hey, he has a really nice defense to my paper cutter.
Yeah.
No more paper cutter.
Yeah.
Like I gotta modify it now.
You gotta do
especially
something
with
different.
you.
You used to do jiu-jitsu, you were saying?
I did, yeah. I rolled and I grappled in high school. I was a very good wrestler in high school with the States,
Nice.
which is great. And
What state? Texas?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
Yeah, Texas doesn't have
awesome.
wrestling, man.
Texas doesn't have it. That's what I was like.
You know, Wisconsin is like, that's like legit. It's like
It's
you know,
legit.
the Northeast and the Midwest.
Yep.
You know, that's like you know, real
Minnesota.
wrestling. Minnesota, yeah.
California.
Yeah,
Don't forget
California,
So-
yeah.
California's got awesome
USC.
wrestling.
Pennsylvania's putting out some incredible
Oh,
wrestlers.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Especially now with
Iowa.
yeah.
Kale, dude,
Yeah, man, that guy
taking
is,
over the scene.
What has he got, like 12 national championships, something like that?
Yeah, it's great, and they keep winning. They keep winning.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What weight did you
I was
wrestle?
my senior year. I was 152.
Okay.
You know, freshman year I was like 125, so I kind of in between that. I was tiny.
Everybody,
Tiny little pup, man.
yeah. I did 119 freshman year.
Damn.
Golly.
Never again. I was like, screw that. And then the very next year, I was like 140, 145.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot
forever.
of kids.
Never
yeah,
cutting weight
growth,
again.
Yeah, growth spurt.
Yeah, I only did it 1 year, but I do remember.
You remember? Like, seriously?
That was
Well,
like
when-
back in the
This is before
did
they
they-
had the
What was the
onesies.
wrestling like then?
the
Well,
Roman.
We
Yeah.
wrestled
Coliseum.
in sand, and we were naked.
And was there glass around? And
No, if
Tigers.
you lost,
Tigers.
yeah, you were fed to the tigers, and you wanted to make sure that you didn't end up face down because getting that sand in your eye was pretty brutal. But nothing was as great as
Yeah.
the perspiration glistening off of your tan, taut body in front of a crowd being naked when you win.
You lube up too.
Even if you're getting eaten.
no,
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?
Entertained,
And
yeah.
you're doing like the helicopter in front of everybody.
So good.
He said the
Before
helicopter.
Yeah, before the helicopter.
Sorry for the visual.
Sorry.
I just
call that
ruined
back then,
Gladiator,
yeah.
which is one of the most, the theme of masculinity, one
Yeah.
of the most masculine films out there. And they're doing Gladiator too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
can you
is
picture
it
this?
masculine?
Oh my lord!
Gladiator. They're doing Gladiator
Is it
too.
toxic
No.
masculinity?
Can you pick
or
a-
is it...
I think it's a very honorable
They're gonna
warrior
ruin it.
archetype. I think they did a great job. There's actually another. There's a show on Netflix I recommend called The Last Kingdom. Have you guys seen it?
Oh
So
yes,
That's pretty good.
They when it comes to the warrior archetype specifically, they kill it because it's very very much designed to understand this. Uhtred is the character.
Uhtred is my man.
Uhtred of Bebbanburg. Anyway, he goes on this grand journey and quest, but ultimately he is listening to the king. He's surrendering and serving the king, and there's ultimately multiple kings, and there's like all this context and drama as it will be.
What is it? The Last Kingdom?
The Last Kingdom. Yeah, there's a movie, but watch all the
Yes.
episodes
The
first before
series.
you watch.
I'm going to do it.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
this guy. You're so great, dude.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, I mean that's when it comes to the warrior archetype in the masculine psyche, it must serve the king. And so what the king is the sovereign, the one that has the purpose and the mission. It's the one that brings blessing. It brings order to the psyche, and then the warrior can come online and serve that. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
And on your website, you have a reference to kingdom too. You said that command your life like a king.
Yes.
Be the man you were meant to be. Command your life like a king.
Yes.
And it's
Yes,
just
son.
him
Yeah.
being his true self too. Yeah, and so yeah, that's awesome.
I think David
Control
was
F.
meant to be here for especially you.
For me,
You are...
Let's talk about mental illness, man. Like
Yeah,
mental health.
so oh man,
It's the final frontier, dude.
yeah.
I think it's the final
What's that?
frontier, right? Of
Yeah.
like
What?
modern.
So yeah, in that birth to 7 years old, I was faced with my dad being an abusive alcoholic, making me watch him hang himself, try to hang himself in the garage. And this is just, and then just dealing with abandonment and helping my mom, God bless her, with my two brothers, and my mom going through another divorce. There's all these things, even to this day, I'm 52,
Yeah.
that I'm dealing with and getting help and support. And I think that's why, like, when you talk about these these are things that are still kind of raw in me.
Yeah.
Like 45 years later, I made peace with my dad, but he was gone. That was a whole other thing. He just disappeared. So just being a man, and I had my stepdad that I still speak to today. He was married to my mom maybe about 7 years, and he was military too. And were you Army? Or,
I was Army,
okay,
yeah.
my dad was Marines. My stepdad was Marines. My dad was Navy, and so I was a military brat. But just trying to teach my brothers and I to be a man, and thankfully. And we could have gone different ways. There are people kind of like you. But it's like I see you as a coach and a mentor, where you have the journey in life and you bump into people, and somehow they give a little bit of themselves to you. And it's mostly my coaches. They can kind of feel it. So with all that stuff, it's just like, just for me, like just trying to figure out still. I mean, there's a lot of the therapy that comes with the mental stuff, but what's interesting is just, that's why I like jiu-jitsu. It's because you can't hide it. The mats tell the truth,
You
and
can
there's a
wrestle your
brotherhood.
emotions.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's why sometimes you see me cry and share and all this. It's because I can't hide behind things. I'm literally so broken down physically that I have to deal with some stuff, and so
Leaving halfway through.
Jiu-jitsu does that. Like,
Yeah.
I've had
So he
times
shows up
where
halfway
I
through
drive
and
home,
leaves
no
halfway
radio,
through.
no nothing, and I'm
How
just
long has
like,
Joe been
damn
there?
it, what just happened?
Yeah.
but
and
That's what matters.
yeah.
and it's great.
Yeah.
He found
That's
the
beautiful.
loophole.
So-
There's truth to that.
there's truth in, and then like the stigma, because again, the jokes aside, Generation X and
Oh,
for
you're
my-
not tough. You're being weak. You're being
well,
Yeah.
this.
for your generation's one thing, but for like Gen X, that's how we were raised, So
Yeah.
there's no like, you don't have a dad, well, tough shit, you need help from the church, well, your mom left your dad, so he excommunicates you, your dad didn't wasn't paying for
There
stuff.
was a real cancel culture
Yeah.
back then. Yeah.
I mean,
like real.
try,
You were
yeah.
kicked off of Instagram. You were.
No, the church
Yeah,
abandoned
but-
us, They say all these things, and my mom
Exile.
left.
Because before Instagram, before
Exile
all this
culture.
backdoor connection, it got quiet.
We were kicked out of our house because my dad spent all the money, so we had to sleep. We had to borrow blankets just to sleep on the floor of our house as a repossessed. So there's all these things and all this anger. But then again, my brothers and I, we talk often about this. Like, would you change your story? I would not change my story because
That's who you
learning
are.
from it makes me who I are. It makes me, again, my mantra, a great father, great husband, great friend, great teacher. But then the thing I do is I make sure.
Jiu-jitsu.
Okay, at jiu-jitsu.
You got to show up on time.
Yeah, I make sure I take care of myself
Yeah.
as best I can, so that in those hats I wear, I can be the best I can be, and that is my purpose. And I'm still adapting to it to this day. But it took me so long to even talk about it. But in terms of the work that I have to do, and for people, I tell people why I don't want people to wait till they're 50 before
Yeah.
they start addressing it. Because one of the breakthroughs I had when I was getting help and I started feeling better is I broke down and I called the guy. I'm like, now I understand. And I went with a service that serves mostly military vets because my situation was in, guys, so great. But I was a tough case, which mentally broke me down because he was dealing with people who did combat. And I'm not trying to, like, whose dick is bigger thing, but, like, they were worried about me, and I had this good face, and they would call me highly functional, which would depress me. Like, what does that mean, So now I'm like this enigma, and they would have people kind of study me during the sessions. But I want to tell people,
What does that mean?
highly functional?
Yeah, like
Despite
less-
my history,
so less broken.
no, despite my history, they're surprised that I'm able to do what I'm able to do when I really tell them the down and dirty of the things
Got
that
it.
happened to
Got
me.
it.
Like, they don't know, so they have some of their therapy students study the sessions because, and I'm not saying it's just they want to figure out, like, how was I able to, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but I want to talk about it more because I don't want to wait till 50 to feel what I do. So I called him and I said, "Is this why you're trying to help me?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Is this how normal people feel like?" And then he was quiet and he said, "Yeah." And I said, and I was angry because I never felt that. And now I'm 50, I've lived half a century and I've never felt that. And so that's why I'm big on it, because I wish I would have got help sooner.
Yeah.
And it's okay to emote. That's one thing I learned, but I kept it in because there's other people out there dealing with it. And they might judge me and stuff. That's okay. But I wish the layers would have been pulled earlier, because I think a lot of things that I did would have been different because of all the way I feel, just like with my wife and my kids and other people, is all like the mask, because it's like Dexter, I would tell people I have this dark passenger and I have to keep it down because I'm so angry, but I want to be able to fit in society and look like the dad and all that. So the point being is, get help there are people out there, especially my age, that's like my thing, Generation X. God, man, it's just, I can't even get tested for some of my stuff because, I mean, it's like I'm trying to get tested for adult ADHD and can't find anyone for that. It's just like, yeah, we haven't really, like in my district, I'm like, hey, do you have tests for adults and stuff? They're like, we don't, what do you mean? I'm like, so good work for you. Have people help out there. Thank you for listening. Well, but there's a lot of work, and
thanks for
I
sharing.
can understand
Yeah,
why
thanks for
it's
sharing,
just like it hurts, and that's why when I have these deep relationships with these guys,
Yeah, sometimes he doesn't want to come. He's like, I don't feel good. I'm like, get your ass.
like you talk about,
And then he
like,
feels so much better.
yeah, just like
Even though I banter him a
physical
lot.
touch and hugging. I didn't have that, and I just remember when my brothers, when I got married at 28.
Don't get nervous.
No, and you could still feel me flinch when people, because of
I feel like we're in the retreat, right? Did we start
Was
the
it free?
retreat?
Day
Are we
one.
in
No.
it? Can we
Day
start
one.
today?
Day one.
Day
The
one.
ice plunge, can I say something here?
Yeah.
I got this new thing. It's cheaper. I just want to suggest for your business. You just get guys to rub like ice all over me, like here. Especially
And
here.
out of left field.
And out of left field, he's that means he's
I'm
He's
doing
landed, he's
I'm
back.
doing my
He's recovered
my
from
Joe's back
3-second
moment.
retreat right now.
it's like Fortnite.
Yeah.
He's building the walls.
But then
Yeah.
I was a big video game player. I had my own situations with drinking and God, man.
Did you have affirmators in your life?
I'm not that old yet, but when I am older, there's like affirmators because I want to make sure that, happy wife, happy life. I'm sorry for saying that, babe. I'm sorry. But I want to thank you so much for doing that. And I want to talk more with you because the work you're doing, I know you're helping people. And just to make people feel better, like through what I've been doing. And just so I can there's the saying, my guy told me, it's just like there's two wolves, that story, and which wolf do I feed? And I have to keep feeding that wolf, and the other wolf, like I didn't want to lose that wolf, I told him, because that's the one that I could depend on when shit goes down. And I've had a lot, and me telling you the story about my dad, that's not the worst thing that happened. There's other things that I've never told anyone, but that I have to keep that because I will lose my shit, and I can't do that because I don't
Why
want
do you
that
got
to
to
happen.
keep it?
Because it's what got me through everything. But can I just evolve it?
What are you holding on to?
When shit goes down, I want to be able to know that I could call on that to become that so I could deal with it. Because I've had to rely a lot on just what was in me so I could get through it. And if I lose that, I feel like a part of me that's the strength will be gone. And then if I do cut that out and I do need to call upon that, then I don't know what I'll have as my plan B.
Do you feel like you would lose a part of yourself if you let that pain go?
So Sunday, you're gonna have that. Tell us about that that
Yeah.
event. Maybe
I was going deep for a second.
Yeah, no,
Maybe-
that's okay. I'll think about that, but that's good.
maybe that's would that
All
be
right, so
helpful?
Yeah, on Sunday.
How much time we got? I
Kinda
mean,
wanted
we
to
can
hear
talk
the
about
rest of
this.
that.
We're coming up on time.
So let's and
This can easily be a 3-hour podcast. So let's
we
yeah
can, yeah.
we can.
I'm here for it. I'm running. I actually do run men's workouts free if you guys want to come in Austin.
Nice,
I'll try to
nice.
move them to North Austin. Actually, a lot of the guys are complaining. They're like, Silker Park's too far down there. I was like, yeah, I know, I get it.
Can I bring my own ice?
You can bring your own ice. Yeah, man. Yeah.
And he's back.
So let's talk about somatic processes. You guys touch on jujitsu, right?
Yes.
So men manipulate the world physically, and women in general. I'm gonna say in general because I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this. And I can hear like just like in the comment section. Women in general manipulate the world psychologically. That's why women hold grudges a lot longer.
True dat.
They
Mean
use
girls.
True dat.
They use gossip. That's their thing. And men, we kick each other's ass, and then like
I don't
3
know
minutes
what you're
later, we're
talking
like in the bar having a drink, and
Yeah.
we're just like we're just doing it, right?
Yes, that's
So because we manipulate the world physically, it is our idea that we are protected by having our physical strength. And so the more you go through the process, and this is why I use somatic therapies, and I love somatic therapies, And again, you can call it somatic therapy, you can call it jiu-jitsu somatic therapy. It's really what it is. It's breaking down your strength so that you no longer are holding up those walls that you were describing, and now you are opening your heart. Yeah. And when you open your heart and you feel like you are in safe space where you can hold, you can express yourself or do whatever you need to do, that's where things will start to flow. And, generally when you are in a group where there's an elder that can support that, that's where everything, is like totally released. So anyway, I want to touch on that. On this Sunday, probably for people that are listening to this, it's already past that time, but we will have this event. It's going to actually expand. It's called the Unbreakable Soul, and it's for men and women. And I love working with men, but a lot of women were knocking on my door like, when are you going to do something for women? I was like, all right, let's make an event. So it's called the Unbreakable Soul, and it's really just helping people really tap it back into themselves. It's using the one main modality that I use, which is called somatic release breath work. And breath work is used, if you think about breath, it is the only system, the respiration is the only system in the body that is both conscious and subconscious. So you can tap into the subconscious mind using the power of breath. And we do a process, it's an hour long, I call it a ceremony, because it's like you're going to just really release whatever is in there. And so, as I was mentioning, the body keeps a score, whether it's trauma, whether it's you got scolded for being assertive as a kid, it didn't matter what it is. We put that into the shadow part of our psyche. And so when you're mentioning the two wolves, ultimately you have to go have a conversation with that dark wolf. And that dark wolf is a part of us that we are terrified of. And we need to see it. It's you guys ever see that movie, The Never-Ending Story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Willow.
Yeah. That's a different one.
I'm sorry.
That's Willow.
Thinking of Falcor.
Willow also is a good
Falcor.
movie. Yeah, Falcor.
And
he sees that.
Sorry, I'm emotional.
And he goes into the cave and he sees that wolf, that dark wolf, and it was terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
That's part of his psyche that he's terrified of. Right? That's what the metaphor is there. And so when we go deep into the soma, we can release and emancipate whatever we've been pushing down. So what happens is we have a stress, and that stress creates pressure in the psyche, and then we suppress it, and then we repress it, and then we ultimately become depressed, and then we feel oppressed. And when we feel oppressed, we feel powerless. When we feel powerless, and this both happens in the individual level and culturally. And so when people feel oppressed long enough, whether it's, Republicans fearing that Democrats are going to take their guns, or it's women in Iran, or it's the black community that is starting to come out, it comes out in the form of incredible fire. It just, I've had people rage, scream, cry, kick, yell. So in these processes, you are completely surrendering to the natural intelligence of your body to do whatever it needs to do. And you take that emotional charge that is in the wound in those moments of your childhood or whatever comes to mind, and you just simply separate them, and you see them for what they are, not what you think they are. This is the big thing that I always tell people. When you see something for what it is, not what you think it is, which means you take the meaning out of the event. You no longer pinpoint that this means that I'm hurt, or I am bad, or I am wrong, or I am broken, or I am, this person. You take that meaning out, you just see it as a thing, and the emotional charge is emancipated. The body can literally reset. It's like a psychological reset. And so in 60 minutes, when I say life-changing, I can change someone's life in 60 minutes. It's powerful. And so with the events, like the 3-day events, obviously a lot deeper. We're going into much more specific stuff, but for the breath work specifically, it is incredibly, incredibly powerful. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice. And you have one of these going this Sunday, right?
That's this Sunday, and then we'll have
Can we pull that
That
up?
one's on Eventbrite. It's not actually through the Unbreakable Man.
Okay.
The link is on. I'm
maybe
sure you can find it on
yeah.
Eventbrite. It's called the Unbreakable Soul on Eventbrite. Pardon me. That's on Sunday. And then, for guys, like we'll do, warrior work. I call warrior workouts, getting out there, be authentic. We'll have a theme. We'll wrap it around. Could be like joy, gratitude, something like that. Yep. The one with, that's it. Right there on the right is that one.
This one, right?
Yeah, that's it. And
Very cool.
yeah, man. And then we obviously have our
12 o'clock.
3-day event.
No.
No, that one's not it.
Sorry, I clicked
Or
on.
I think that was
the
a party
link.
there.
Thought I clicked on this link.
Yeah, it's 3:30 on Sunday.
Oh, I think I'm clicking on Austin. That's why.
Oh yeah, go down right there.
Maybe this
There
one.
you see it.
All right, this one.
September 7th.
So how long has this been,
There it
the
is, okay.
3-day
Mm-hmm.
Unbreakable Man experience been going for now?
I started it a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's honestly.
Oh, good. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been
Reduce
on my
stress,
heart
overpass.
for 10 years.
Mhm.
I swear. You know.
It's awesome. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is one, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to go back to the tickets. Tickets, $75 to $150.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
the 75 is just general admission. 150 is if you guys want to do an integration call at the end,
Mhm.
which it would be the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Integration, and I always say this, like whether you experience plant medicine or breath work, having a process of integration is actually the thing that's going to get you the result. So you're going to feel incredible. You're going to feel amazing. And then what do you do with that, right? Like how do I show up now in the world? And so I offer that as a service, but what I'm going to end up doing is turning this event called the Unbreakable Soul into a larger event, probably January, February, and we're going to do a full 2.5-day event. It's going to have breath work. We're going to have speakers. It's going to be a big extravaganza. I'm really pumped about it. So,
What I like about this, and when I was going to help, is the guy I was working with, he recommended me doing a retreat, kind of like a Navy SEAL training or something but I didn't go with that. And we were looking at different options for me, but what I like about something like this is that was more of like, are you tough enough? We're going to break you down and build you up. But this is in terms of that mind-body connection more. If I'm trying to understand it, so there's other ones I was looking at, but this is a different angle because it's not just me, and no offense to people who get trained or stuff, just like pushing things around the sand, being in cold water, staying up 24 hours, which would break me down. But then there's this other deeper layer to it. I could see this really exploding too because of that, because those are popular things in today's society, these male retreats.
Well, there's a need.
There's a
Yeah.
need, but this
Huge
is
need.
a different type of fulfillment in terms of, I like how, just me being a person that's looked at other ones, this is different. I like that so
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let me see. I think it's that time we got to do the affirmators. So
Ooh.
Let's get to it.
All right.
is the affirmator. You're gonna pick the top card or any card, and then you're basically gonna read it. And this is gonna be interesting.
All right. Well, we'll take top card here. Imagination.
Mm.
I reveal in the wondrous, mysterious, most beauteous. That's a new word. I like that. Beauteous power of my imagination, and let it whisk me away on a right-brained romp through all things nonsensical, Seuss plus Wonka style. I am an off-road adventurer, playing in the upside down, glow in the dark woods of possibility. There is no here, only whoa and flow. And holy moly, here we go. Was there something in that brownie?
Nice.
I fucking love that.
I love that.
That's
a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah,
That's a really good
Kind
one.
of goes with the theme, right?
That is
like
the-
freedom.
That is the
Flow,
edge
dude.
between discipline and surrender, right? Not the edge. Sorry, that's like if there's like a Venn diagram, that like you think about like discipline, right? Like that masculine like structure, like and surrender, like full surrender is like it's totally letting go. Like the flow is like right in the middle of that,
Yeah.
right? You know, like
Oh, I thought you were going to say imagination.
the imagination. I mean, like yeah, but imagination is within that flow. It's
Yeah.
like just like being in that poetic archetype. You know, just like letting things like
Kind of
roll and-
suspended.
Yes. I actually read it like literally. So I'm reading this book called The Gene Keys, which is like we can totally go on another tangent on this, but one of which they have these 64 kind of chapters, and it was really fascinating because one of the things it's sort of like this I Ching kind of meets modern astrology, all these things, and I love all this stuff, man. It's wild. But one of the things that came up for me in mine was imagination. That was a chapter I literally read right before I came here.
Nice.
So,
Whoa, that's
Serendipitous, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Which is wild, man. I love that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, so every show we get a different affirmator and read it, and it's kind of neat the connections that shows up. Some of them are very direct, and some of them are still connected a little bit differently. But
yeah, and that flow is that feminine energy. A lot of men don't recognize that, whether it's male or female. There's we're going to talk about this for a second. It's biological male or female, right? We took a look at like the codon, right, of XX or XY chromosome.
mm-hmm.
And that is the objective world. That's what we see. But then psychologically, there is the energies of masculine and feminine. And all humans possess masculine and feminine energy. Women possess masculine energy, men possess feminine energy. It's our ability to understand our masculine energy first that creates safe space and structure psychologically for us to then tap into the more feminine energies. And for a lot of men, we shy away from our feminine energy, which is that flow, which is that imagination, which is that creativity, that artist, that painter, the creative. And we're afraid of that because of what am I? Yeah, right. Like, what are people going to think of me, or what? We're really putting yourself out there. Right? Totally. And so I always say, like, honor your femininity. And a lot of masculine coaches, like the better ones, are talking about that. But there are some masculine coaches that are like, you possess no femininity, you will never be feminine. I'm like, I like argue with them on Instagram all the time.
That's a little extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, I served in the Marine Corps, and let me tell you, there was a lot of femininity happening.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
In the hazing
my
sector.
Initiation.
The initiation.
You want initiation? We got
Destructive
initiations. This has been fantastic. This has been amazing. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for this. This is so powerful.
Yeah, thank you, man.
And I am personally looking forward to this on Sunday. What's the location?
That's it. Flow yoga down south.
Okay.
It's at Westgate, so for you, it's going to be like a 45-minute drive.
That's fine.
So it says TBD
I'll
on
put
here
it.
still, by the way. I don't know if you want to update that.
Oh,
but
yeah. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to update that. But yeah, so that is just like a one-time event. And then if anybody's listening and interested in whether it's the Brotherhood, it was online, it's, a lot of online work, a lot of accountability on that end. And then we are breaking out into local, I call them warrior workouts, like kind of local affiliates. Okay. And then our 3-day event, I just moved the dates, so I didn't update that. I will say.
Is
so
that on Eventbrite also?
That
the 3-day
one is
events?
the 3-day event for the men's retreat. That's the unbreakableman.com/experience.
Okay.
And that is, as it sits right now, $3,500 for the 3 days. Includes food, lodging, obviously all the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And I know I can change this guy's life. I know I can. Like, it's not hubris. It's just like I've done it before.
Yeah.
I think we all need to do this.
Yeah,
This
man.
sounds awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And that's investing in yourself is priceless, and that includes the lodging and food. I mean, that's actually really well priced.
It's really well priced
Compared to the ones I was looking at, yes.
It's I will tell you, like, everyone that's come through has all told me that, like, I'm undercharging. Yeah, and I agree. Know, I'm keeping it as that for now. As the word gets out, we'll make it more. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get in before the prices go up.
That goes up, dude. Yep.
Now is the time to tell everybody the price is going up.
The Unbreakable price is going up.
Yeah, man. Like those text messages too. Like if you guys read through them,
I was reading them.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to like
okay.
These guys, their lives are changed, man, forever.
I can see it.
It's so incredible.
So the next one's on the 22nd.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm gonna move in that one, shifting that one a little bit forward. There was something that came up in my personal life, so yeah. So
good. And then do you do these at? Sorry if I missed this. Do you do these at like your place, or do you have like a?
There is a retreat center that I rent, which is from here, as the crow flies, maybe 5 miles.
Nice.
Which is kind of nice.
5 miles. Wow.
Yeah, so it's really
super close.
Maybe a little bit further, but anyway, Liberty Hill. So I rent a retreat center, hire a chef to come out. Again, it's Food is awesome.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I don't want to give too much away.
No
You're gonna be
spoilers.
uncomfortable.
No
I'll tell you that.
spoilers.
Some
Yeah.
people fly to India for this kind of retreat.
Yeah,
This is like
Got
Yeah,
one
right
right in
here.
the backyard.
Backyard.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, right in your backyard, man.
If I
So-
wanted, though, there's food restrictions. If I wanted to go with Taco Bell, could that happen?
Filet fish.
Absolutely
Can we
no.
bring filet
Okay.
fishes?
Absolutely.
filet
Thank you
fish.
for holding me accountable.
Oh,
Thank you.
100% not. I will throw that
Can
shit.
you
into
make?
the-
Yeah, can you make
Bring it to me.
Taco Bell? Though?
Yeah.
Can you make
Oh man.
Hey Joe, I don't think you're eligible for this one. Look, dude, you got recent fractures and injuries. I don't know if you.
I
Your whole
read through
body's
the
messed
list,
up,
and
dude.
I'm just gonna lie.
You're gonna have to like increase your age range. For
Yeah.
I want an adaptive one where, like, if I can, like, just make half of those.
If your age is
Yeah.
X,
Yeah. You're in Gen X.
Yeah.
If anybody is, if you're listening and you're looking to sign up for this and you have questions, if it's not a fit, I'll just give you your money back. That's usually what happens. I have done that. There were a couple of cases that just one guy severe psychosis, and I just couldn't help him. There was there's certain things that are still like I'm just not the right guy. So,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes
That's
sense.
Yeah.
On that note, let's start winding this down. Any last words, parting words?
I'm just really thankful, man, that you guys allowed me to come on y'all's show, man. This
Yeah.
has been a lot of fun. I really enjoy this, and when you mentioned the time, and I don't know if anybody knows what time we're rolling right now. It's like way past my bedtime, but
oh yeah,
I always
Same. Yeah.
Thursday
yeah,
suffer.
Thursday, yeah. But man, when you're on purpose, it's like time flies, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that you guys are even hosting shows like this, and so thank you. Yeah.
I love it. This is our, like I said, it's a kind of like our therapy.
This is our retreat.
This is
right
our
here.
retreat
Yeah,
every
man.
Wednesday. We
3
missed it
hour
one
retreat.
day, or one week we've missed, and it felt kind of
I felt it.
weird. It's like,
I did.
Where'd the flow go?
Yeah.
where'd the flow
Where's
go?
that imagination?
Parting words, sir.
So one thing, when we start with the good news, I normally don't end it with the good news. I love how you said have date days. Like, I kind of do the same thing where my alarm that goes off at 9:30 every night is to remind me it's time to wind down with my wife. So I at least try to spend an hour with her, except Wednesdays every night. But I love that. Date days are great. And then we really went into the Unbreakable Man, and just a person that is trying to help people, whether they're vets or not, try to find their authentic self through somatic therapy,
Yeah.
which is different than other forms of therapy, mind-body connection, and just trying to help you deal with your demons and purge them and come out a person that is better than the person that came in, where you're finding your purpose and being a man and true to yourself, but also knowing that there's a brotherhood so that you're better. It's done, a lot of it's through the breathing exercises, which I think is really great. And there's different ways to get that support through your brainchild, through your imagination,
Yeah.
because it came out of you, just as you said, looking at the sky, like, okay, I'm going to help people. But I also like how it's branching out to other things, where you have the mini sessions on Sunday, and you're also now starting to think about helping women too. So it was just a big thing about what we can do to battle our demons, so that we could get to the raw self, that's the real self, so that we can do what we want to do and not have to worry about that stuff weighing us down, so that we can have a bigger impact on the things we want to impact.
Perfect.
Damn.
Love
That's
it.
good.
Talk about a summary.
Talk about parting words.
Parting
man.
words.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was one of my
Jeez.
best
Brought
ones.
to you
I was
by
writing the
Jiu-Jitsu.
script as doing. That's what I was writing.
dope.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
man.
he was proud of me.
It's
So.
gonna be my MC. I'm gonna carry him with me.
Chris.
Success story, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're usually wrapping up, asking people if you are having mental health issues to reach out.
Yeah.
We're not here to solve; we're just here to connect. So this is great to bring somebody on that does mental health, wellness, tie it into the physical side of it. So if you're out there and you're you've been asking yourself, what your purpose is, or having questions, reach out to us. We can put you in contact with folks like yourself,
Yeah.
who are running these amazing programs. So it's kind of cool, because I remember when, 6-7 years ago,
Yeah, man.
was hearing the initial the name
Yeah.
concept coming out. So to see where you're at now, that's really dang cool. To add on to mental health, September is Suicide Awareness Month. So I know that's sometimes the harsh reality of mental and physical well-being. You know, we don't want to get there. So before anybody gets to that point, what I want to say is start reaching out. So find people who can help connect you with those services, because not like you were saying, you may not be the right person for that individual. Yeah. Right. So you may know more people than we know. So it's a pipeline. So we'll be more than happy to pass your information out or help share it as much as we can. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I just have a quick question before we wrap it up. But would you recommend? I know it says you can bring a friend or you can bring people. Like you know, obviously they have to register and stuff on their own. But like, would you recommend going with people that you know, or like, you know, a sibling or like a father-son type of thing, or would you recommend people go kind of on their own
to the 3-day?
Yeah, to the 3-day.
Yeah, I would. You know, it's always like I get that question asked a lot, and I always say yes.
Yes to yes to which side?
Yes to like bring bring them, like whoever.
Okay, bring them.
And where a lot of people are terrified is to be seen. Yeah. There's to be seen in that relationship. And you are going to be seen. That's why a lot of people are like, is this a good idea? It's like, yeah, it's actually a really fucking good idea, because then you guys go through that experience together. You are going to have a completely different relationship, and everyone else around you is like, y'all are glowing. Yeah. And I've had a lot of, two of which actually brothers. I've had father-son, but they were all like, you know, the son would come and then they'd send the father, or the father would come and then send the son. Yeah. You know, and I've had a lot of families, you know, come through and change dynamics. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah. I think I know a father-son that would be like perfect for this, and so that's what I was asking. Yeah. But
as long as the son is over 16,
yeah,
they'd have to be, and I would even shine the side of 18, just so that I've run 16-year-olds through just a breath work, and sometimes they're good, sometimes, you know, they just don't like it.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah, so
that's it.
That was it. That was it. That was my words. That was my parting question. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, dude. Yeah, but
that was the quietest moment in history.
I was waiting for him to
continue. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is all we have on this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. And we got the camera right there, the one in the middle. And on 3, how we ended, we are going to go 1, 2, 3, El Pinche Podcast and flex. And on 3, 1, 2, 3, El Pinche Podcast. Nunca serei derrotado, é carioca, jiu-jiteiro, gosto de guarda laçada. Relaxa, não passa nada, ainda rasgo de omoplata. Nascida no subúrbio, virou